continuing conversations on the economy. We're joined this morning by Euben Paracuelles, Chief ASEAN Economist at Nomura in Singapore. Good to have you back with us, Euben. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Kathy, good morning. Yeah, nice to be back.
Yeah, I've just been speaking with Secretary Benny Laguesma there of the Labor Department. How are you seeing labor market conditions holding up? Is it still as robust as you stated back in April?
Yeah, it's just based on these numbers, it's definitely on the path of improvement. But I'd say, again, just listening to the Secretary, there are some questions in terms of the sustainability of unemployment staying below 4%. And, I see that as a little bit inconsistent if you look at, for example, the state of the economy. My own estimates suggest that the output gap is already negative. So in other words, total output is below what it would have been if the economy was operating at capacity, right? So there is some excess. And so I would say later in the year, we'll probably see unemployment rates tick up again. As soon as the seasonality, fades a little bit. And by the end of the year, my forecast is around 4.2, 4.3 on the unemployment rate.
All right. So given that you do have this sustainability challenge in the way of the labor statistics and the global trade policy uncertainty that we've been facing, what kind of conditions then are we going to see in terms of consumer spending as well as economic growth then?
Yeah, so overall, I think we are on a headline basis growth going to be on a softening patch. Household consumption, I think, is going to hold up a little bit and maybe even improve, again, because we have consumer price inflation is very benign, and that should be boosting purchasing power alongside with some of these improvements in the labor markets that I've talked about. But it's the other components of domestic demand, particularly investment spending, that I think we're going to see some concerns lingering. So we've seen that already in the Q1 number. In fact, I was a little bit surprised how much investment spending actually softened even before all of the news with the global tariff policy. So I think what is telling you is that sentiment has been weak because of the uncertainty, including with the external backdrop, and that's already starting to impact the spending decisions of businesses. And for as long as the uncertainty persists, and I think that's still the case today and probably in the next few quarters, I think you could see businesses continue to be a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, indeed. Private investment is the other sort of a leg there underpinning growth. So what impact then could it have on GDP growth?
Yeah, so for the next few quarters, as I said before, we've already seen it slow quite materially in Q1. I don't expect it to turn around very quickly. It's probably going to be slightly below 5% for the rest of the year, and then linger there for the remaining for the next few quarters. Again, because of the uncertainty that I think businesses don't really like, it's very hard for them to plan when things are changing so dramatically, whether it's on the tariffs, but also domestically when conditions are directly affected, by global factors, including, I'd say, geopolitics as well, which we see from time to time. So in that environment, I think, again, they would probably postpone some of their investment spending plans.
All right. Well, you've already cut your GDP forecast on May 9th from 5.9 to 5.3%. Are you still sticking by that with just 24 hours to go before the second quarter GDP results are out?
Yeah, I think that's still on track. And yeah, my expectation for the Q2 number is around 5.3, so slightly lower than 5.4 because of those factors that I talked about. And further into the year, I've been arguing that I think, with the tariffs that we got at 19%, it's pretty high. It's even higher than Liberation Day levels of 17. So I think what that does is really put a lot of pressure on exports via direct effects, but also indirect effects when all the other major trading partners of the U.S. also face weakening external demand. And so to the extent that we trade with these other trading partners, I think that should also put some pressure on exports. So overall, I would say there's still some risks to that. In fact, I would probably argue that it's going to be still on the downside, especially with the threat of the sectoral tariffs, particularly on electronics. That's it's a major sector for us in terms of exports. So if something is announced in the next few weeks, I think that would put another layer of pressure for that part of our exports.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your insights. Euben Paracuelles of Nomura joining us from Singapore.